Right, so Amir Khan against Kell Brook goes down on Saturday night. I am extremely excited for this fight. We've just had the final press conference. I'm here to talk about it. Before I do, my name's Rahul J. Chan. This is the Battle Camp. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Man, that press conference was extremely entertaining. I really enjoyed watching that. Now, I remember actually when this fight was first being talked about on social media, that it's possibly going to happen. It's finally going to happen. These two are going to fight each other. But it hadn't been made official yet. I remember seeing quite a lot of voices on Twitter talking about, oh, it's happening 5 years too late. I don't want to see it. It's too late. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. Both of these fighters are washed. Now, as the build-up has progressed, as we've seen the gloves are off, as we've seen the two press conferences after they've aired the two Behind the Ropes episodes, I've seen less and less of those voices on the timeline, and I've seen this fight being talked about so much on my timeline. Like, I think it's the most I've seen. It's the fight that I've seen tweeted about the most over recent times on Twitter, right? And it just, to me, proves that this is a very big fight, despite where both of these men are in their career. And the reason I believe this is the case is because I feel as though they're both, as in the same age, their trajectory, their career trajectory is very similar. So they're both over the hill, but it's not like one of them is way more over the hill than the other one. It just feels as though they both reached their peak at a similar sort of time, and now they're just kind of on their way down at a similar sort of time. And on Saturday night, we get to see who has more left in the tank, effectively. But aside from the fight itself, I have to say I've really enjoyed the build-up. I've really found the build-up entertaining. Like, the gloves are off was on the other day, and I was watching it. I think it came on Sunday night. I was watching it, and I found it funny. I thought Amir Khan bossed it. I thought Amir Khan won that exchange, if that's a thing, because obviously talking about a fight and actually having a fight are two totally separate entities, right? But if you can give someone the win during that exchange, to me, you'd have to give it to Amir Khan. Amir Khan almost treated Kell Brook like a younger in that gloves are off, and it was weird because it felt like Kell Brook was just desperate for Amir Khan's approval almost. And how I know that this wasn't just entertaining for someone that's a fan of the sport, my dad was in the room whilst I was watching it, and I noticed my dad, as the program kind of, after we got about 5 minutes into the program, he had put his phone down and he had just started concentrating on what was going on the TV, rather than just scrolling through his phone like he does all day, playing videos really loudly for no reason. So I could feel that this isn't just something that, you know, geeky boxing fans are into. You know, you could feel the animosity in the room. You could tell that these guys actually do hate each other. And sometimes you get build-ups to a fight where the personalities of the two fighters don't really gel. Like, you might have two people that are really good at talking on the mic, but their personalities or the way they feel about each other doesn't really get the best out of them in a build-up. I feel as though these two personalities are perfect for each other, because Kell isn't the best with his words, but he gets very emotional, which makes for good TV. And Amir Khan, I'm not sure he kind of thinks through a lot of the things that he says, but he is funny. Sometimes he means to be, and sometimes unintentionally. Now, if we just focus on the press conference itself, that was exactly what I've just described. It was entertaining. There were some hurtful things said. There were some very funny things said. For me, I feel as though the star of the show was Dominic Ingle, to be honest with you, because Amir Khan, again, was verbally beating Kell Brook. But I feel as though Dominic Ingle was the one that came in and said the most spiteful and probably the funniest things without anyone being able to come back to him. You know, the way he was referencing Bomac's weight when Amir Khan tried to draw Dominic Ingle out for drinking Kell Brook's sweat, rightly so. I might add, rightly so, because even when I saw that, I was like, oh, someone on Twitter did say to me that it was a camera trick and they swapped glasses or something, but I don't know. It looked to me like it was all one shot, but who knows? I haven't watched it back. It made me feel sick. I've only seen it once. But when Khan questioned Dominic Ingle about the sweat drinking, and Dominic Ingle's response was, we all do things that we regret in life. And I'm surprised that this press conference hasn't been sponsored by Kleenex. And it actually physically made Amir Khan not just shut up, but he retreated back in his seat. He retreated back in his seat like this, and Bomac came forward and took over. Like, watch it back, and you'll see Amir Khan physically sits back in his seat. He literally sits back down. But it was exciting, it was entertaining, but like I said earlier on in this video, I don't know how much credence to give the words that are being exchanged now, and how much influence these words will have when both of these men step into the ring on Saturday night. Now, one thing that I do have to quickly talk about is, because I've watched a lot of the interviews that Amir Khan and Kell Brook have had after the press conference, and Amir Khan seems to be making quite a big deal about this comment that Kell Brook made. I haven't personally seen this comment. I haven't seen the video or the interview where he made the comment about Amir Khan's chin being as fragile as a poppadom. Firstly, as a fellow Desi banda, Amir Khan pronouncing poppadom as papadom. Don't really understand that. They should have just said papad. But anyway, look, I feel as though Amir Khan's reaching, because I can't see how this is racist. Referencing someone's race, ethnicity, and culture, referencing it and being disrespectful about it are two different things, right? And I can't see how you can be offended by that to the extent to call Kell Brook racist. And the elephant in the room is, Amir Khan has said plenty of things where he can be accused of being transphobic. We all remember the situation he got himself in with, forgot her name, Kim Kardashian's dad or stepdad. You know who I'm on about, the Olympian that ended up having a sex change. He can be accused of being homophobic for some of the comments he's made about Kell Brook and questioning Kell Brook's sexuality. He kind of alluded to it during this press conference. So you have to be careful when you're going to throw these accusations. You have to be very, very careful, because you need to make sure you're 100% right, and you need to be doing it for the right reasons. And I don't feel as though he's doing it for the right reasons, as in I don't feel as though he's actually offended by this comment. I feel as though he understands the times that we're living in, and he's trying to use that to his advantage without actually taking into account some of the stuff that he said. People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, or whatever the saying is, you know? And you know what? Uniquely, because it doesn't happen very often in sport, I feel like I'm in a good place to be talking about this, being the same colour as Amir Khan, you know, being from, you know, obviously I'm Indian, he's Pakistani, but there's very, you know, especially in the context of a poppadom, we eat the same food. So, you know, I feel as though my opinion, it has some weight when it comes to this specific comment. Anyway, aside from that, I don't want this to turn into a race thing, right? Because obviously Amir Khan's going to have a lot of supporters here on Saturday night, as is Kell Brook. I don't want this. This is a celebration of two very successful careers, in my opinion, and I'm a fan of both of these. I've said it in my previous video about this. I like both of them, and I just want to see a good fight on Saturday night. And what I don't want to see is this being overshadowed by unsavoury incidents in the crowd, you know? And I'm concerned, and hopefully I'm being dramatic and over the top, but I'm concerned Amir Khan taking it down this road at this stage of the build-up. I'm a little bit concerned about what might happen in the crowd. You could tell this is an MMA channel. I'm a little bit concerned what might happen in the crowd come fight night. I hope I'm wrong. I really, 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 really hope I'm wrong. Aside from that, the presentation of the press conference itself, Ben Shalom is growing into this persona of a promoter, a boxing promoter. I saw some criticism about him on social media. I saw some people being quite positive about him on social media. I feel as though this is a difficult spot that he's in, because it's hard for him to be a promoter with bells and whistles for this fight, because none of these fighters are his, you know? It's not as if he's been with one of these fighters and gone through thick and thin, and now he's finally got his opportunity at a title in a fight at home, you know? The way he opened the press conference and the stuff that he said is perfectly fine. It's perfectly reasonable. There's nothing to hate about the guy. He's a young guy. Clearly, he's got some confidence to gain. He's got some experience to gain. He'll get better at all of this. The criticism that I saw, some of it was from an account that I follow, which is quite funny. But he's just a very big Matchroom fanboy. So anything anyone else ever does, he has to moan about, right? So I don't really take that opinion with any. I don't really care about that opinion when it comes to things other than Matchroom. But with that being said, he did kind of forget to stand behind both of them during the final face-off. I'd imagine Adam Smith told him, "Oh, go over there and stand behind them there." That was a terrible impression, but you know what I was trying to do. But all in all, very exciting, full of anticipation. If you're new to this channel, you've not seen me talk about fights in the past. The fights that I love the best is when the outcome, any outcome, is you can foresee any possible outcome, a points victory on either side or a finish on either side, and there's so much unknown about a fight. Like there's so much that we don't know until it happens on Saturday night about where both of these men are in their career and how far away they are from their prime, right? Because personally, I felt as though for years and years, I felt as though Amir Khan would beat Kell Brook until Amir Khan lost to Garcia, and he went on a bit of a run of losses. I think he lost to Lamont Peterson, although that was controversial, was it not? But I remember he lost to Danny Garcia, and then he lost to someone else. But where my opinion changed is when Kell Brook went to America and beat Sean Porter. And I thought to myself, there's no way Amir Khan can beat Kell Brook. If Kell Brook can do that to Sean Porter, and I know they're different fighters, and I know I'm not an expert when it comes to boxing, but I spent a period of my life believing that Kell Brook would beat Amir Khan. And now I'm back, and now I don't know. I don't know either way. I don't have an inkling that this guy's going to win or that guy's going to win. And that's why I'm so excited about it. It kind of feels like it's an end of an era for me. This is like the final fight of a certain era of boxers that I spent a lot of my kind of late teens and early 20s watching, and even after that. But like Khan, Brook, James DeGale, George Groves, Froch, like loads of fighters, Cleverly, Bellew. I should really be able to name more than that off the top of my head, but that kind of era of fighter, and I feel as though this is the last fight of that generation of boxer. But yeah, these are my thoughts. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm full of anticipation. I cannot wait for Saturday night. I'm looking forward to watching the weigh-ins tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below. Don't be scared to like, share this video with a friend if you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time.